Hello, hello, hello! What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Scott, and welcome back to FudgeMuppet. And here we have a little Fallout 4 discussion video on the skills perks video that Todd Howard released on the Bethesda website about 24 hours ago. So, out of all of this, people have done plenty of analysis and discussion and so on, but what we do get to see is a really good look at the Charisma perk tree. And I want to have an in-depth look at particularly the Charisma perks. So, and also the game-changing aspects of it. Whereas it seems Charisma has a much larger actual gameplay functionality, which we will see with the Animal Friend perks, the Waste, what's it called? We'll find out. Let's just go through them. So we've got Cap Collector, pretty self-explanatory, makes yourself better at bartering. We've got the Lady Killer, Black Widow kind of thing. We've seen that all before. We've got Lone Wanderer, which is a new perk. When adventuring with a companion, you take 15% less damage and carry weight increases by 50. That's the first rank. So it incentivizes being by yourself. Then we have Attack Dog, which is for your little doggy friend to hold an enemy so you have a greater chance to hit them in VATS. Now, this is where the interesting part begins. We have Animal Friend, Commune with Beasts. Now before, in all the previous Fallout games, it was essentially just animals didn't attack you. But now, we actually have to hold our gun at an animal below your level and gain a chance to pacify it. And there's multiple ranks of this, so it's interesting to see what the other ranks will be. But it's sort of like intimidation. If we have a look at we'll skip the other two for a second, Local Leader and Party Boy, you can read those. They're not the interesting parts. Look at Wasteland Whisperer, which is very much the same as the Animal Friend perk, but with wasteland creatures like rad scorpions and Mirelurks and all that kind of thing. And then we have Intimidation, which is the exact same as Animal Friend and Wasteland Whisperer, but for humans. So it seems like we'll be able to play like a very pacifist-like character where we actually have a chance to intimidate enemies. It's really interesting. Like, for example, I want to have my character who's just come out of the vault, high charisma, high intelligence, and I could be role-playing, for example. I could be like, scared. Like, you don't just come out and start just shooting up motherfuckers, but instead I come up and I'll like hold my gun and like sort of like freeze, don't drop your weapon or whatever, and you can get them to run off or be scared of you. So that's sort of interesting, and you could be some big like drug lord running their jet or whatever you're doing, and intimidation really fits in with it. Or you could be a bank robber and you could like sort of hold people up, and it gets interesting because if we look at the second rank, it's when you successfully pacify someone, you can incite them to attack. So I'm not sure whether that means they like attack their friends or whatever that means. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I hope there's actually, just a side note, I really hope that there is spoken voice commands from your character, since we have got a voiced character. So if you're attempting to pacify someone, it would be cool if your character actually said like freeze or stop your weapon or put down your weapon or whatever. Something like that. I think that would be very, very interesting. And on the third rank, you can give them specific commands. So this is where the whole bank robber thing comes in. Like, theoretically, and what I'm hoping you could do, you could be some sort of like highway robber. You could go up to a caravaner kind of guy and you could hold him up and say, get the money out of your fucking Brahmin pack or whatever, or something like that. Or go into a store and get them to get certain things, or I guess tell them to shoot someone else if you're a real evil bastard. But something like that. It seems really, really interesting. And it applies to animals as well. I'm assuming it's going to work very similar with multiple ranks of Wasteland Whisperer and Animal Friend, maybe specific commands. So maybe you can be like say you go in the wild and you find just some random dog, and you could probably get that one to, pacify it and get it to do some specific commands. Not your specific dog, but not your companion dog, but just some random dog. Or maybe like, I guess a bloatfly if you're if you got Wasteland Whisperer. But or it might differ slightly from Intimidation, but it certainly is interesting. The only last things about Charisma that I would like to talk about is the Party Boy or Party Girl perk, depending on what gender, and it's got to do with no chance you'll get addicted to alcohol, and I'm assuming later ranks might have something to do with chems, something like that, maybe no negative effects or something like that. And then there's also Local Leader, which has to do with establishing supply lines between your workshop settlements, which Bethesda sort of told us a little bit about, just saying that like we've got settlements everywhere. You have your caravans going in between, trading, which can strengthen the supplies and stuff and what's available and whatever equipment and so on. So that's kind of interesting as well. And one last final note that's not really to do with the charisma tree itself, but you can put perk points into your special categories and increase them. But we can talk about that in another video or a later date, or maybe not at all because it's very self-explanatory. But anyways, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on the new Charisma tree, specifically the new Pacify gameplay element. Because as a whole, Charisma seems now it will be it's like a gunplay thing. Instead of just, in the past, well, like it's been with speech and barter and very sort of out-of-combat applications, it's now all about telling people to just stick them up and throw their guns down or shoot their friend or whatever. So let me know what your thoughts are below. And stick around, subscribe, like the video if you are excited for this new pacifist style of gameplay that seems to be facilitated by Bethesda's new perk trees. And yeah, subscribe for more Fallout 4 discussion videos. There's Star Wars lore, there's Elder Scrolls, there's everything here. And there'll be a shit ton of Fallout 4 videos when it releases. So I'll see you then.